partners that if we get to 300 Facebook likes today, by the end of midnight tonight, we're going to give away a $50 gift certificate to a CLA business of your choice. And if we get to 350 Facebook likes today, Ed Coyle will give you a $100 gift certificate to a business of your choice. So again, please go on Facebook, search us, like us, and follow us, and hopefully we can give you some timely news and information from time to time. We'd appreciate that. Again, if I could just briefly then introduce our associates and the staff we have with us here today very quickly before we proceed with the mayor's program. I'll start out from kind of newest to our most experienced attorneys. We have with us today Jen Merks over here. Jen actually just took the bar exam. Jen, if you want to wave. Yeah, indicate. Jen just took the bar exam. She's been with us for several years as our state paralegal, done a great job. She's just awaiting her bar results here in the next few weeks, so we look forward to Jen becoming our newest attorney probably in the next 6 to 8 weeks or so. Next we have Joe Crow. Joe just joined us about 3 or 4 months ago. Joe's a graduate of Widener Law School and kind of has a general practice right now, practicing in family law and various other areas. Brett Wiest. Brett's a graduate of Northern Lebanon High School. Brett's been with us for over a year now. Kelly Nur. Kelly's been with us for about 2 years now, practicing primarily in family law and various other general practice areas. Jason Schibinger. Jason has a practice primarily workers' compensation, bankruptcy, and other areas. Mike Bechtold, one of my partners. Mike's the solicitor for Lebanon School District and also has a general practice. Scott Grenoble. Scott specializing in insurance defense, family law, and other areas as well. Mary Burchick, next in seniority. Mary, obviously a very well-known domestic attorney, family law, divorce, custody, child support. Ed Coyle, one of my partners. Ed having a practice primarily in estate planning, estate probate, and personal injury. And Tim Huber, Tim representing many local businesses, doesn't like to be recognized at public events, so we'll take time to do that now. Also with us today, our office manager, the glue of our office, Leslie Spears. And not with us today, but certainly with us, I'm sure he's thinking about is Bernie Buskin down in Florida, where it's probably about 40 degrees warmer than it is right now. So again, that's everyone here today. Again, we thank you for the opportunity to sponsor this event. Look forward to hearing the mayor's comments today, and I'll turn it over to Jack Hanwell.
David, thank you. Very nice job. And let's give a round of applause for Buskin Davis, who is a continuing sponsor of this event every year. The CLA luncheons and other events are affordable only because of sponsors like Buskin Davis who step up to the plate. Well, here we are. Before I get into the introduction of our main speaker today, I would like to introduce some dignitaries who are with us. First of all, we have two service clubs who really support this event by bringing en masse members of their service club. So first of all, I'd like to recognize the Lebanon Lions. If you're a Lion, stand up. Lions. The Lions are led by their fearless leader, Glenn Rambler. Another group that shows up every year as an organization is the Lebanon Valley Sertoma Club. Sertomans, please rise. Sertomans are led by their president, Wanda Bechtold, who's a buddy of mine for many years for the Central Pennsylvania supports the troops effort, and Wanda will be back with the troops in November for our fall luncheon. Representing State Representative Maura Gingrich's office is Diane Stott. Where are you, Diane? The County Commissioner's office in downtown is now empty because Bill Ames, Bob Phillips, and Joellen Litz are all here. So thank you, County Commissioners. Representing the City Council, Wiley Parker, Tony Matula, Wayne Carey, and Richard Wirtz. Our fire chief is here, and I hope we're not overpopulated today. Dwayne Troutman, fire chief. Police Chief Dan Wright. I really wish to recognize our police everywhere in Lebanon County for the job they did on the recent potential disaster that was averted at Cedar Crest High School. We got some heroes here, and also the students who were involved in that. Former Mayor Betty Eisman is here. We have 3 magisterial district judges with us: Maria Dissinger, Tom Capello, and Tony Vernon. So welcome. A representative of the educational community, Dr. Ski from Hack. There you go. And our CEO from the Lebanon Valley Chamber of Commerce, Larry Bowman. Welcome, Larry. I also want to give special thanks to Bill Hartman, who is sitting over here. Bill is the president of Sound Advantage, Inc., and Bill has helped us and the mayor with the slide presentation setup and the sound system. So if we sound pretty good, he's the man, okay? All right, now before I introduce our speaker, I would like to share some bridge trivia with you. All right, I want to show of hands when I ask. How many current and former mayors were involved in the project that resulted in the realization of the bridges that span the railroad tracks on 9th and 10th Street? How many say 3? We got 1, okay. How many say 4? Oh, 3 more. How many say 5? And the correct answer is 5. Okay. Let me tell you, Sherry and I talked Monday, and here's some facts that she shared with me. The concept of the bridges began with the Betty Eisman administration. Mayor Jackie Parker then took the baton and developed the project details and executed the legal agreement. Bob Odsbach then picked it up, and he took over, and his administration worked on the design and the acquisition phases of the bridges. Trish Ward completed the acquisition phase and passed the baton to Mayor Sherry Capello, who dealt with the environmental issues and the actual construction of the 2 bridges. And I think those bridges are symbolic of Lebanon, the place to grow, because I love driving. I look for excuses to drive on 8th or 9th Street or 10th Street these days. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. It's one of the many things the mayor has to deal with. And for the 5th consecutive year, it is my personal pleasure to give the mayor a CLA warm welcome and for her annual State of the City address. Mayor Capello, stage is yours.
Well, good afternoon, community of Lebanon members and guests. I would like to thank Buskin Davis Law Offices for sponsoring this event and the Community of Lebanon Association for hosting. As the mayor of Lebanon City, it is my privilege to share the state of the city with you. I will highlight my 4th year in office, and I will share my goals and objectives for the city in 2014. Jack recognized our local dignitaries, and I want to thank you all for attending. If you could please take a moment with me to recognize members of City Council and my senior staff members. If you would please just raise your hand so they know where you are. Without the support of City Council and the diligence of my staff, we would not have completed some of the accomplishments in 2013 that I will share with you today. For the past 4 years, I have spoken about healthy communities and what fiscal stability means. Again, a healthy community is based on its appearance, cleanliness, street maintenance program, condition of its water and sewer infrastructure, employment base, average income of its residents, and the amount of crime within the community. Fiscal stability for a municipality means that on an annual basis, the municipality can pay for the services it provides, meet the required financial commitments for its retired employees, and provide for future capital projects that are part of its infrastructure and public safety mission. What? Oh, talk radio. Okay, let's get serious. My assessment of the state of the city is as follows. Turning to fire safety and property maintenance. These areas fall under the responsibility of the Department of Public Safety and the leadership of Fire Commissioner Dwayne Troutman. Staffing in the Fire Bureau remains the same as 2012, with 21 career and about 43 volunteer firefighters. The fire department responded to over 1,100 calls for assistance during 2013, which is comparable to 2012. About 10% of those calls were for actual fires. However, there were 63 structural fires compared to 29 in 2012. Total fire damages for 2013 are estimated at $1.2 million. Fortunately, there were no deaths related to a structural fire. For the last 4 years, we have 2013 includes we began utilizing a web-based fire operations software designed for fire officers so information regarding calls can be at the leadership's fingertips 24 hours a day. As volunteers, the members of the city fire police assist the fire and police departments. Fire police are responsible for traffic and crowd control at emergencies and public events, fire and incident scene security, and apparatus security. They work long hours, usually do not receive recognition, and are not a line item in the budget. In 2013, the city worked with 6 of the volunteer fire companies to coordinate an annual state grant so that a new $45,000 fire police vehicle could be purchased in 2014. We started the planning process for the 2015 purchase of 2 fire engines, a process involving 3 volunteer fire companies and the city. We purchased communications equipment for the installation of an emergency operations center at Lebanon High School. 95% of the funding was through a state grant. We continued the progress on the maintenance and testing of self-contained breathing apparatus components. Insurance Services Office performed a grading reevaluation to the city's fire department, water system, and dispatching. We maintained an ISO Class 4, which is outstanding. In 2014, we will continue to improve the practice of fire scene accountability, continue to work cooperatively with our volunteers to purchase fire apparatus, begin a fire safety inspection program, and look at obtaining a grant to record radio transmissions. Looking at property maintenance and other health and housing items, the key to the preservation of property values and the maintenance of neighborhood integrity and attractiveness is property maintenance enforcement. The number of new cases in 2013 was almost 1,800 compared to about 2,000 in 2012. The trash category continues to represent the highest number of violations with a count of 965. Trash complaints represent 55% of our new cases. Regarding the preservation of residential neighborhoods, the city will continue to fight blight by taking a harder stance with property owners. In 2014, we will continue to make logistical improvements which will improve the efficiency and accuracy of administrative operations. Our Community Development Director, Melissa Quinones, continues to oversee our grant monies and community projects. Some of our 2013 accomplishments include, through the First-Time Homebuyers Program, we assisted 9 homeowners with down payments totaling over $128,000. Through the Rehabilitation Program, we provided 6 homeowners with rehab assistance in 2013, which were all financed through home funds. Due to a significant decrease in CDBG funding, the city has not been able to provide financial assistance to Habitat for Humanity, as was the case in past years. However, in 2014, the city will be removing a $12,200 lien from a home on Lehman Street for Habitat's benefit. The city also provided $140,000 to the City of Lebanon Authority for water main improvements from North 6th Avenue to North 8th Avenue. In 2012, the city was awarded over $801,000 in grants from PennVest and the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources for a project at Coleman Memorial Park. The project commenced in 2013 and included greening of the amphitheater, improvements to an existing parking facility, construction of a new pervious parking area, a new walking path, improvements to the entrance area, and a new exit from the park. The project included significant improvements to stormwater. The total project costs are over $1 million. The city anticipates receiving the second phase of the DCNR grant in 2014 for about $225,000, at which time a playground will be constructed. The city was awarded a grant by the Pennsylvania Lake Management Society in 2012. The grant, in conjunction with a private donation from Ed and Jeannie Arnold, has been used to enhance in-stream ecological health at Stavers Dam. An aeration fountain was installed in the feeder pond next to the lake, and a riparian buffer was planted in April of 2013, which consisted of about 360 trees. The buffer was planted on the United Way Day of Caring, with assistance from a college intern, the County Conservation District, and the Boy Scouts. The Elm Street program was established approximately 5 years ago within the northwest quadrant of the city. This section of our city has the highest transient population, multiple dwelling units, and subsequently the lowest median incomes. The purpose of this program is to connect members of the neighborhood and help empower the residents to take collective ownership in caring for their neighborhood together. In 2013, the program partnered with the United Way Day of Caring to clean up trash from the neighborhood. A couple other cleanups were held throughout the year. The biggest accomplishment last year occurred in October. A job fair titled Your Bridge to Tomorrow was held at the Lebanon Valley Family YMCA. There were a total of 7 employers in attendance and about 160 job seekers. About 40% of the job seekers were actual Elm Street program residents. We continued the facade improvement program, which began in 2011. In 2014, we will hold several workshops on financial planning and budgeting. We are partnering with the school district and the YMCA to sponsor a language partnership program. We will continue the facade program, promote home ownership, solicit additional residents to join committees, and with financial assistance from Fulton Financial, we will complete a paint improvement program for accessory structures. My last community development initiative involves economic development. The governor approved $3 million in funding for the Partridge Street redevelopment project. The city has been working with the redevelopment authority to acquire properties and relocate families. As of the end of 2013, all 36 properties were appraised and negotiations initiated. 35 of the owners agreed to a price and had settlements. All 24 families residing there were relocated. One multiple property investment owner has not agreed to a price and has engaged legal counsel. A board review hearing will be held on March 25th. An archaeological investigation commenced in January of this year. 10, possibly 11 grave stacks were discovered from a former cemetery. The next step will be to perform hand digging and to reinter any remains found. The city will then demolish the buildings, widen Church Street, and run utilities for the future economic development of the site. The city received approval from DCED in November of 2013 to extend the Keystone Opportunity Zone in place at Aspen's Business Park and to have additional designations approved for 2 lots in Progress Park and for the Partridge Street project. The sites are a challenge to develop due to environmental issues. However, the KOZ incentive package adds a tool for marketing and provides the parcels with an increased chance of being developed by abating taxes on future improvements. In fact, a 120-day due diligence agreement was signed about 2 weeks ago for one of the Snyder Drive lots. We will continue the LERTA program. Also, Community First Fund is an agency that provides opportunities for the revitalization of cities and neighborhoods. They provide loans, business training, and one-on-one counseling. During their more than 4-year presence in the city, they have lent over $300,000 in new investment to help usher in the next era of success in the city. Community First Fund recently was awarded $15 million in New Markets tax credits. New Markets tax credits are a very creative and attractive funding tool designed to put large commercial developments in low-income census tracts to help reduce the costs associated with a project. They have indicated that they are interested in making a project happen in Lebanon City. In November of 2013, the WOTA Group resubmitted an application to the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency for Penn Home Funds and low-interest tax credits. They applied to DCED for a Keystone Communities loan and an industrial site reuse loan. They also applied to the County Commissioners for a $100,000 loan from the Affordable Housing Funding. In mid-February of this year, PHSA approved WOTA's application. The award will help to finance the renovation and reuse of the A.S. Kreider building located at 631 North 8th Street for 50 1- and 2-bedroom affordable rental housing units for senior residents. Approximately $11.4 million will be invested into this project. WOTA hopes to break ground in early fall, complete construction in about 12 months, and be fully leased in early 2016. Many thanks to the local support we received from Senator Falmer, Representative Gingrich, the County Commissioners, City Council, Chamber, and EDC. In 2013, the concept of a business improvement district was reintroduced to the downtown business and property owners as an option to provide additional services to the downtown area. A public meeting was held in April of 2013, and a few leaders from other successful bids presented information on their downtowns. A meeting was held with business and property owners, nonprofits, and residents last May, and results from a stakeholder survey completed determined that the consensus was to move forward with preparing a bid study. The study would determine what additional services the owners would be interested in order to assist with the success of the downtown, the boundaries of the potential bid, and it would determine how the additional services would be paid for. The city has focused on obtaining funding for the study to be started this year and completed in 2015. Economic development will continue to be our priority in 2014. Regarding crime and public safety, the Lebanon City Police Department is committed to providing a high level of service to the members of our community under the direction of Police Chief Dan Wright. Police departments measure their crime rates by the number of Part 1 crimes. Part 1 crimes consist of two categories. The first is crimes against persons, which include homicide, rape, robbery, and assault. The other is crimes against property, which include burglary, theft, motor vehicle theft, and arson. The 2013 rates show an increase in crimes against persons by 4%, and an increase in crimes against property by 13%. Overall, Part 1 crimes increased by a count of 101, or 11% compared to 2012 rates. The overall crime rates are still significantly lower than the highs of the early 2000s. The increase in thefts was clearly the reason for an increase in overall Part 1 crimes for 2013. In comparison, in 2003, 10 years ago, the total Part 1 crimes were more than 23% higher than they were in 2013. The trend over the last decade supports that crime has decreased. Clearance rates are an indicator of how departments measure their ability to solve crime. I am proud to report that the clearance rates for Part 1 crimes met or exceeded the national average in all categories except theft. The department had a 100% clearance rate on assault and an and an 83% clearance for all violent crimes, which is far above the national average and is exceptional. It is also 1% higher than last year. To continue, there were 2 homicides in 2013, which is the same as reported in 2012. Thank you, First Man. You know, I have to get that in there. One was a domestic-related homicide-suicide. The other was a drug-related street shooting. After several months of investigation, an arrest was made of 3 people in February of 2014. Robbery was up 14 counts from 2012 with 62 reports. Street robbery was the most predominant with 22 counts. 21 counts were convenience or retail stores. 3 counts were bank robberies. 7 counts were residential robberies, and 9 counts were unclassified. The increase in robbery counts over the previous year is significant. However, a few factors came into play. The entire Lebanon County experienced a rash of robberies in the first 6 months of the year. This rise of criminal activity was not limited to the city of Lebanon. Many of the surrounding jurisdictions experienced significant robbery increases. From January through June, the city had 42 counts of robbery, and from July to December, the city had just 20 counts of robbery. Theft experienced an increase of 80 counts. This is the most common crime in the city and impacts more citizens than any other. I stress again, the increase in theft was clearly the reason for an increase in overall Part 1 crimes in 2013. In 2013, 230 of the thefts were thefts from motor vehicles, as compared to 153 for 2012. The majority of these thefts were from unlocked or unsecured vehicles. Many attempts were made to educate the public on crime prevention tips, such as locking one's vehicle or removing valuables or electronics from the view of passersby. There was also an increase of theft of scrappable property. Grills, ladders, and miscellaneous items that may have been left in yards or next to garages were stolen that previously would have been undisturbed. The high value of scrap metal and the availability of scrap yards have resulted in an increase in thefts of this nature. There were 139 counts of burglary, an increase of 16 counts or 13% from 2012. There was no evidence of a burglary crew or that a large number of burglaries were related, as was the case in previous years. There were several burglaries of vacant houses or buildings under renovation. Regarding street crimes, the city had 4 violent crime incidents one could categorize as street crimes, where persons were injured by gunfire or gunfire was involved in the commission of a crime. This is a decrease since 2012 when the count was 7. These types of street crimes have a profound impact on the perceptions of citizens and members of the community and require a proactive response by law enforcement. Arrests have been made in all 4 cases. There were 6 incidents classified as random gunfire incidents. These are incidents where evidence of gunfire can be documented, but police are unable to establish whether or not there was criminal intent and there is no clear victim in the incident. An arrest was made in one of these cases. This count is down from 17 in 2012. Many of these incidents involve circumstances of persons firing guns in the air out of car windows or a person leaving a party firing a gun in the air. Although random gunfire decreased from last year, gun violence exacts an emotional toll on all communities, and we are not minimizing this activity. We will remain focused on making a positive impact on fighting gun violence. Part 2 crimes are less serious crimes like forgery, embezzlement, vandalism, sex offenses, DUI, disorderly conduct, and similar types of crimes. Overall, Part 2 crimes are down 102 counts or 8%. The clearance rate is 60%, which is consistent with the previous years. Although a full commitment to a community policing department is not possible with the existing manpower and budget constraints, the police department has adopted and utilizes many community policing principles. Examples are the fostering of neighborhood associations to form community partnerships and utilizing directed patrol, allowing officers to problem solve in response to specific complaints in neighborhoods. Unfortunately, the number of active neighborhood associations decreased from 2 to 1. The Walnut Street Neighborhood Association disbanded in 2013. The only active association is the one located in the 500 block of Weidman Street, referred to as the Eagle Eye Crime Watch. The police chief and I will be hosting an educational forum in 2014 concerning how to form a neighborhood association in the hopes of spurring community interest. We continue to participate in the Safe Schools program, and officers continue to speak on topics like domestic violence and gangs. Officers made appearances at over 100 community service events throughout the year, including our biggest community-based event of the year, National Night Out. Our police department continues to participate in many community programs and events. The city's K-9 unit normally consists of 2 canines. However, it was limited for the year 2013. In November of 2012, K-9 Axel had to be put down because his liver stopped functioning. Counselor Tony Matula volunteered his efforts to raise money so that a new canine could be purchased. The community came together and generously donated about $50,000 to the cause. In the fall of 2013, the city purchased a new canine named Apollo, who was assigned to new canine officer Sean Buck. A used canine vehicle also was purchased. Some of the department's goals in 2014 will be to reduce the count of Part 1 crimes through the use of directed patrols and other strategies, to maintain high clearance rates, specifically for violent crimes, continue to increase the involvement of the police department and its officers in community events, which will enhance officers as positive role models, increase the number of active neighborhood associations, and continue the trend of reducing random gunfire incidents and street crimes involving firearms. Regarding the public works category, this department consists of engineering, highway, traffic control, parks and public property, building and zoning, and recycling, overseen by Director Engineer Gordon Kirketsner. 2013 was the fourth year of operating the public works facilities with a further reduced workforce. The most difficult adjustment is the realization that some of the operations like leaf collection, yard waste pickup, snow and ice removal operations may take longer to accomplish with fewer personnel available. We want to send a special thanks to Youth Advocate, Crossroads, Brian Stevie from Iona, George Christensen, and my husband, for their assistance this winter in helping some of our residents in some of the situations. Looking at the winter season, from October to April, this 2013-2014 winter season has seen more than 52.5 inches of snow thus far. Better yet, too. According to the National Weather Service, the average snowfall for Lebanon County is 21 inches. With the exception of the back-to-back blizzards in February of 2010, we have experienced the average snowfall or less over the last decade. Additionally, an added burden is that there has only been a few days for the snowfall to melt and diminish the depth of the snow, so it just kept accumulating. Although it needs to be recognized that we experienced an abnormal amount of snow this winter season, the city recognizes that there is always room for improvement, and that will be our goal for the 2014-2015 season. Some of the highlights in 2013 and goals of 2014 are as follows. The 10th Street Bridge over the Norfolk Southern Railroad was open to traffic in August of 2013, and the bridge was dedicated to historic buildings in the city. In conjunction with the 10th Street Bridge opening, the city hosted a courthouse walking tour to celebrate Lebanon County's bicentennial. The Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System, or MS4 program, involves all of the surfaces that rainwater comes in contact with, such as streets, driveways, catch basins, inlets, storm sewer pipes, and outlet pipes. The goal is to prevent pollution from these surfaces from running into our creeks and streams. Due to requirements by EPA, the city has added over $62,000 of cost to its annual budget. In 2013, Seasonal Health performed an inventory audit of the outfalls of the pipes that discharge water into the creeks. 206 outfalls are now documented and have been added into the GIS system. All 1,156 catch basins were surveyed and placed into the GIS system in 2012, and a portion were inspected and cleaned in 2013. We are aware that our streets need attention, and portions of 5 different streets were milled and overlaid in 2013. The harsh winter weather has added an additional burden onto the department with an excessive number of potholes to be repaired. This will be one of the priorities in the spring-summer of 2014. Due to excessive costs for snow and ice removal, we may not be able to move forward with our resurfacing program this year. In order to improve flooding issues in the 3rd Avenue and East 1st Street area, a 300-foot-long reinforced concrete box culvert was constructed in 2013. Backfilling around the new box culvert and restoration of existing grounds remains to be accomplished in early 2014. 2013 was very productive as we continued to organize and streamline our building and zoning services. Improved communication with the Department of Public Safety has increased efficiency and cooperation between staff, property owners, and contractors. Building and zoning issues are being handled as part of a combined effort as complaints and property maintenance arise. This creates a more enhanced enforcement of all city ordinances. The city's permit fee schedule was reevaluated and amended to accommodate additional fees charged for third-party inspections. An incentive, specifically for owner-occupied properties, was added to assist in promoting more improvement projects throughout the city. These amendments went into effect at the beginning of 2014. Another goal for 2014 is to conduct a pilot program, which started March 1st, where the zoning officer will function out of the Department of Public Safety in order to combine and improve on rental and code compliance. Additionally, in April, the city will hold an educational forum for property and investment owners on understanding the building code, and this month, we will hold a special Q&A session for all rental property owners regarding the rental license program. Concerning recreation, parks, and playgrounds, the number of camping permits issued at Stabers Dam Campground increased from 66 in 2012 to 145 in 2013. A total of 374 campers utilized the park compared to 213 campers in 2012. A new refrigerator and electric stove were purchased for the Nature Barn through a donation from the Keystone Gun Club. Fire rings will be purchased in 2014 as well. An additional volunteer park ranger was added to the complement in 2013 to bring the total number to 5 rangers who assisted with oversight at the park. Over 9,000 swimmers and more than 900 group swimmers utilized the public pool in 2013. These numbers were down from 10,000 swimmers and over 1,800 group swimmers in 2012. 64 out of the 88 operating days experienced rain or cloudy weather in the 2013 season. Thus, pool receipts were down approximately $10,000, with almost $38,000 receipts for the 2013 season. Expenses for the pool totaled almost $84,000. For many residents, the pool is their main source of recreation and is essential to their quality of life and is a strong factor for continuing pool operations. In 2014, administration's goal will be to finalize police, fire, and non-uniform contract negotiations prior to December 31st. We will oversee completion of some pool repairs and the conversion of our disinfection system from chlorine gas to liquid chlorine, which will significantly increase safety for staff, attendees, and neighboring properties. We will research public pool admission rates for a possible rate increase. We will continue to update the employee safety manual, and we will implement a citywide software transition. Regarding our financial stability, in 2009 and 2010, the city experienced general fund deficits. The city would have experienced deficits in 2006, 7, and 8. However, one-time supplemental income was utilized to balance the budget. In 2011, which represented the first budget that I created and administered, the city did not experience a general fund deficit. The city also did not experience a deficit in 2012. And although the numbers are not finalized yet, we believe we shall post a modest gain for the year 2013. Audits have been filed one time since 2011 when we got caught up with 3 years' worth of past due audits, and accountability in the city continues. DCED supports early intervention plans to assist cities avoid financial distress, generally referred to as Act 47. The city had outside consultants prepare an update to our 5-year EIP last year. The plan highlighted the city's top 3 financial priorities and objectives: stabilize the existing tax base, balance expenditures and revenues, and support existing city departments with technology and contracted services in the short run. Despite the commendable actions taken to improve the city's fiscal situation, Pennsylvania Economy League projects that we will again experience growing operational deficits starting in 2013. As indicated earlier, I believe we will experience a modest gain in 2013. However, the city may experience a deficit in 2014 because we have the line on taxes and salaries and benefits, representing 84% of the budget, increased. Action will be necessary in 2014 to generate additional revenue if we are to avoid deficits again. Pell recommended that the city increase revenues through increases in the city's real estate, earned income, and real estate transfer taxes. Powell also suggested that the city take a balanced approach to tax increases by using a mixture of the three tax levies so as not to impact any one tax-paying group disproportionately. Regarding the budget constraints, when more than 84% of the general fund budget expenditures represent salaries and benefits, it is difficult to find unnecessary expenses that can be trimmed. Over the last few years, the city has raised taxes, eliminated most capital expenditures, laid off workers, replaced some full-time positions with part-time positions, and still most of our budget is employee costs. The EIP plan had only a couple recommendations concerning expenditures. To reduce overtime costs in the fire department, the city should hire 2 additional firefighters. The consultant believes that each additional hire could save up to $30,000 annually. However, the increased cost of benefits and, more importantly, pension and other post-retirement benefits were not considered in the review. The city is currently considering this recommendation in conjunction with the negotiation of a new contract. The plan also suggests that the city consider regionalization opportunities with neighboring police departments as a way to improve full-time service levels. The plan also suggested that the city maintain its health care fund balance in order to provide sufficient funding should health care costs escalate. Regarding general fund balance, the plan recommended that the city continue the practice of budgeting money for a capital reserve fund and that the city develop a dedicated fund balance of 2 or 3 months of revenues and expenditures. I am extremely proud of what we have accomplished in my first term. However, I have repeatedly stressed that financial sustainability would take more than a few years, and it would take modifications from the state to existing mandates and laws, continued financial scrutiny, further concessions from the unions, and new or increased revenue sources for the city to become potentially sustainable. We must remain committed to a long-term recovery. However, we have worked very hard to balance the budget and eliminate the deficits in the short term. Investment into the city continues. Facade improvements and other renovations were made to a couple commercial buildings in the downtown, including Smith's Creek Brewery and a property manager's office. A facade improvement, sidewalk, and driveway improvements were made to the South Point Mall. Some larger projects initiated in 2013 were interior renovations and/or improvements to Good Samaritan Hospital, White Markets, Rescue Mission, and Welsh Mountain Dental Clinic. Exterior and interior improvements were made to the Lebanon Family Dental and a multiple commercial use complex. The Lebanon Valley Rail Trail expanded further into the city, and of course the 10th Street Bridge was completed. These investments are one extremely positive indicator of health. To conclude, I have shared our progress and achievements with you today as promised. I spoke about the indicators of a healthy community. Our appearance and cleanliness have improved in some areas and continues to be a concern in other areas of the city. We continue to struggle with adequately funding our street maintenance program. The City of Lebanon Authority does a tremendous job of maintaining and improving the condition of our water and sewer infrastructure. The unemployment rate in Lebanon County is one of the lowest in the state. Growth in low wages is a concern, but the increased need for technical jobs will replace low-wage and lower-skilled jobs. There is a talent crunch right now. We need skills. But the good news is that it is recognized by workforce development, and we are doing something about it. The job placement rate out of technical schools in our region is 100%. There can be a rosy picture for employment opportunities for our residents if they look in the needed areas. Crime has increased in some categories, but looking back a decade, it is still overall 24% lower now, so the trend supports that crime continues to decrease. A capital reserve fund was established in 2013, which will assist with future capital projects. The fiscal stability of the city has improved in the short term, but long term will continue to be a challenge. Our health has improved over the last 4 years. To compare 6 other cities with a comparable population, Lebanon City has the lowest taxes with no mills specified for debt service. This is a remarkable positive attribute. However, deficits are on the horizon if revenues are not increased. My administration has worked diligently to make improvements in the area that we have direct control over. However, I will continue to emphasize that Lebanon City needs the state to assist in our efforts by providing new options and implementing programs and laws to help us succeed. I've stated previously, and I stress again, a prosperous city is absolutely essential for a prosperous county and in turn a prosperous state. Many individuals and companies have made investments in Lebanon City. We are continuing on our path with positive momentum, but we still have more work to do. However, with the investments that I have mentioned, Lebanon City is experiencing positive movement, growth. I'm here to report that the state of the city continues to improve, but I caution that we will lose the momentum. We will lose the momentum created if measures are not taken this year to raise revenues. With that being said, I continue to believe Lebanon is a great place to grow your business, grow your education, grow your family, and grow your community. Lebanon, the place to grow. Thank you for coming, and God bless Lebanon City.
Mayor Sherry Capello. We have about 6 minutes. Before you actually bolt out the door, take out your calendars and write the date down for our next CLA luncheon. It's going to be May